and sovereignty. But this time, if you look at the Trump's action, especially captured President Nicolas Maduro, I believe this is actually the direct interference in Venezuela's sovereignty and regime stability. And actually, Trump, based on the American First policy, especially that American first in security and to conduct this operation. If you look at starting from August to September of this 2025, actually could see that actually Donald Trump continued to give more pressure on the Venezuela, especially that talk about that the narco terrorists for the Latin Americans organization, and also that because that a narco terrorist, and especially for the Maduro's government, Donald Trump sees it as that the government provides support to the narco terrorists. So that's also conduct that the operation this time. I believe that this is based on America First policy, and that actually also that really impact the perspective of international law.
周先生，从这个拉丁美洲的整体来看的话，这样的一个事件可能对于这个地区政治的格局，还有所谓的这个安全形势，产生哪些连锁的反应？因为拉美的主要国家以及区域组织。是否会因为这个事件而产生更多的变化，或者是否具备已经形成集体回应或者制衡这样的一种行为的条件呢？
实际上本身我觉得特朗普他的这个根据
So for Donald Trump is actually saying that it's based on the excuse of that the narco, the terrorists. That we talk about that this is really that because that's this is really based on that this is the big wave against that the Latin American, and also we talk about that also would like to get involved in that the countries that the support, and also and we also talk about that this is really need to think about that they also would like to get involved and got interest from that the regions. And we talk about the operation this time conducted by U.S. to Venezuela will also have quite the negative impact to the global landscape. And we talk about that actually for the Venezuela internally, they will face that the chaos and in all respects in terms of the social stability and political stability. And also on the other hand, we could also see that Venezuela actually quite the strategic cooperation with Cuba and other neighboring countries, so that if the situation landscape change in Venezuela, that will also for sure have the chain react to the neighboring countries and also the regional political landscape and the security situation. And also this time, because of the under the name of that the narco states security issues, so we could see that for the Venezuela policy, if we will not really have that stability, then we could also would foresee a wave of that the situation we talk about that because Trump the administration have really a strict policy on the immigrants, but we talk about that the and also we talk about that the refugees, and we talk about that for the illegal that the immigrants and also the refugees because of this time that impact on the local security landscape that will actually could trigger more refugee or the illegal migrants coming to United States. That could be also one of the impact from the actions. So we talk about that the operation this time, and they're also quite diverse in a political point of view. Some countries actually extremely oppose that operation carried out by United States, but also we talk about the allies of the United States support the operation. So judging from the current situation, the local operations, also the Latin American regions, they actually had really a clear opposition that opposed the operations. So going forward, we could see that the whole region actually opposed that hegemony in this region.
Well, to what extent do you believe that this actually reflects, a major shift in U.S. policy towards Latin America, and what could be the profound impacts on, the global geopolitical order here, especially given, the escalating great power rivalry that we are seeing right now? 那么，周先生，我想问您，就是在这样的一个行动跟这次这个冲突当中，有多大的程度反映了美国对于拉美政策的一个比较重大的转向，尤其是在当前这个大国博弈加剧的这个背景下，国际的这个地缘政治跟秩序是否会有一些长远的影响？
So we talk about from the perspective of Latin America as a whole. Do major Latin American countries and regions organizations poses the condition to form a collective response or provide checks and balances? So we believe that the December 4th, and the U.S. also released that the security report, and we talk about for the the hemisphere, and also we talk about for the core, the key minerals, the key corridors or the channels industries actually needs to be strongly dominated by the U.S. And we know that the policy of the committee will last for a relatively long time, starting from August or September. So the policy towards Venezuela was actually based on the release of this national security strategy. So we expect that there will be more actions to really bring that dominant hegemony of the United States back to this region. So I think it's right now, in fact, it was actually changed the political landscape of the Latin American in the future, according the development of the economic situation in the entire region and whether the United States will strengthen its influence to build up its construction of regional supply chain. We believe that could be further observed and worth paying attention to. So the conflict in the global geopolitics and the impact of geopolitics are more reflected in the fact that the U.S. is a global hegemon, so that we talk about actually this is really lack logic and is based on the principle of America first. So the principle of international law and international relations, this illegal behavior of a big country and the behavior that do not follow the rules. And so that will also worsen that the security environment in the Western Hemisphere. So it will affect the stability of global politics, including the
well, if there's no logical explanation for the U.S. strikes politically, what about economics? I mean, is this all about oil this time? 周先生，就是如果我们不能用合理的、有逻辑的解释来解释这次就是目前美国的行为的话，是否能用某种经济上的理解去看待这个问题？是不是全都是有关于石油？
对，我觉得实际上在美国的这个国家安全战略报告中间对于西半。
And also in the U.S. National Security Strategy report regarding the kind of policy, especially that the hegemony of that United States, he would like to reconstruct that the dependence on that U.S. economy. So that could further help to consolidate the U.S. presence and also the economic hegemony in the entire Latin American region. In other words, it can have the final say in economic affairs. So from this perspective, we talk about it related to the future of the entire Western and the hemisphere, especially key minerals, because the energy resources reserved in Latin America very large, so that the key mineral actually important to the future development of technologies. So we believe that strengthening that the key industries, that the key channels, and also the key minerals, that if the United States strengthen the control over these areas that related to the counter
一直在说
strategy
这
of
个
United States.
他并不想要颠覆这个马杜罗的政权，但是他还是行动了，而且这次的行为是否可以看作其实就是在想要达成某种颠覆马杜罗政权的目的。So Trump has been saying that he doesn't want to overthrow the Maduro administration or pursuing a regime change there, but is what's happening actually reflecting that? 周先生。
是因为我觉得就是这个委内瑞拉实际上在拉丁美洲地区的。
So for Venezuela in Latin America is a very important country, especially in the geographic situation. It's actually enjoyed quite strong that the geopolitical strengths, and also it has a very abundant resources.